High place phenomenon. You're standing at the edge of a balcony or leaning on a railing at the top of a parking garage, and out of nowhere your body has this fleeting flicker, a phantom pull, like some tiny part of you considered stepping off. Not because you want to, not because you're sad or in danger. It just flashes there, uninvited, and vanishes almost as fast as it came, leaving you a little shaken and a little confused about your own mind. That flicker is called the high place phenomenon, sometimes known by its French name, l'appel du vide, the call of the void. The leading explanation is that your brain sends a quick safety signal, a kind of double check when you're near a ledge, and your conscious mind misreads that internal warning as an actual urge. What makes it different from suicidal ideation is the total absence of any desire behind it. There's no wanting, no planning, just a stray signal getting crossed with your sense of self-preservation. People who report it tend to be the same people who are most careful around heights, not the least because the same wiring that flags danger is the wiring producing the flicker. It's your brain proving how seriously it takes staying alive in the strangest possible way it could choose to prove it. Cute aggression. You pick up a puppy or you see a baby's cheeks and something in you wants to squeeze it, bite it, crush it a little, even though you love it more than almost anything in that moment. You'd never actually hurt it. The urge isn't cruelty. It's something closer to an overflow, a feeling too big for your face to express on its own. This is cute aggression, sometimes called a dimorphic expression of positive emotion, which just means your feelings are so strong they leak out looking like the opposite of what they are. Researchers at Yale found that looking at extremely cute images triggers a quick burst of activity in the brain's reward system, almost immediately followed by a burst in areas tied to emotion regulation, like hitting the brakes right after the gas. The leading theory is that overwhelming positive feeling needs somewhere to go, and clenching your jaw or squeezing your hands gives your nervous system a small release valve so you don't just freeze up staring at something adorable. What makes it different from actual aggression is the complete absence of any wish to cause harm. It's love with nowhere left to put itself. It's one of the only feelings where wanting to bite something is proof of how much you adore it. Zeigarnik effect. You close your laptop for the night, but the email you started and didn't send keeps tugging at the back of your mind. Or the show you paused halfway through an episode sits there unfinished and it bothers you more than it should. Finished tasks disappear from your thoughts almost instantly. Unfinished ones stick around, quietly nagging, refusing to let you fully relax. This is the Zeigarnik effect, named after Soviet psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik, who noticed that waiters in a Vienna cafe could recall complicated unpaid orders in perfect detail, but forgot them completely the moment the bill was settled. The leading explanation is that your brain treats incomplete tasks like open loops, holding a small amount of mental tension in reserve until the loop closes, almost like a browser tab it refuses to shut. There's a sibling effect worth knowing, the Ovsyankina effect, which describes the pull to jump right back into a task the second you're interrupted, even a task you weren't enjoying in the first place. What makes this different from simple forgetfulness is that it's selective. Your brain isn't bad at remembering, it's specifically bad at letting go of anything still marked unfinished. That unsent email isn't important. Your brain just hasn't been told it's allowed to stop thinking about it yet. Photic sneeze reflex. You step out of a dim building into full sunlight, and before you've even registered the brightness, you're sneezing, sometimes 2 or 3 times in a row, for no reason you can point to except the light itself. It isn't dust, it isn't allergies, it's the light doing it, directly, almost mechanically.
This is the photic sneeze reflex, nicknamed ACHOO syndrome by researchers who clearly enjoyed naming it, which stands for autosomal dominant helio-ophthalmic outburst. Somewhere between 18 and 35% of people have it, and it runs in families, which points to genetics rather than body chemistry. The leading explanation is a slight wiring crossover in the trigeminal nerve, the nerve bundle handling sensations in your face, so a signal meant for your eyes spills into the pathway that triggers sneezing. What makes this different from a normal sneeze is the timing. It fires almost the instant light hits your eyes, faster than any irritant could ever travel up your nose. Pilots and skydivers are actually trained around this, since a sudden sneeze at the wrong moment during a jump or a landing is a real enough risk to get mentioned in training manuals. Something as simple as sunlight has a wiring named after it, and most people carrying it never even learn the name. Ironic process theory. Someone tells you not to think about a white bear just for the next minute, and immediately your entire head fills with white bears, wandering, sitting, staring back at you, impossible to evict. Or you're told not to bring up a certain topic at dinner, and suddenly it's the only thing sitting on the tip of your tongue all night. Telling yourself to stop noticing something seems to guarantee you notice it more. This is ironic process theory, sometimes called the white bear problem, after the experiment psychologist Daniel Wegner ran using that exact phrase. The leading explanation is that suppressing a thought takes two separate mental operations running at once, one part of your mind searching for anything else to think about, and another part quietly monitoring in the background to check whether the banned thought has shown up. And that monitoring process itself keeps the thought half activated the whole time. What makes it different from just having a persistent thought is that the suppression itself is the cause. The harder you push, the more fuel you're adding to exactly the thing you're pushing against. It's part of why anxious thoughts tend to get louder the more someone tries to will them away. Your mind can't stand guard over a door without occasionally glancing at what it's guarding.
Contagious yawning. Someone across the room yawns, just once, and within few seconds you feel your own jaw start to stretch open whether you want it to or not. And if you catch someone else's eye doing the same thing, you both end up laughing about it. Even hearing about yawning right now might have gotten you a little closer to one. This is contagious yawning, and its lesser-known sibling is contagious itching, where simply watching someone scratch their arm can make your own skin start to prickle in the same spot. The leading explanation for yawning specifically points to mirror neurons, brain cells that fire both when you do something and when you watch someone else do it, blurring the line between observing and experiencing. Some researchers connect it to empathy, since people yawn back at strangers less often than at close friends and family, and dogs have even been shown to catch yawns from their owners. What makes this different from a regular yawn, which is mostly about oxygen and alertness, is that the contagious version has almost nothing to do with your own tiredness and everything to do with someone else's. It might be one of the oldest forms of social bonding we have, older than language, quietly synchronizing bodies in a room without either person saying a word. Morbid curiosity. Traffic slows to a crawl on the highway, and you already know it's an accident up ahead, and even though you tell yourself not to look, your head turns anyway, eyes scanning for the wreck before you can stop them. Or you click on the news story with the worst headline first. You're not a bad person for it, and almost everyone in that line of cars is doing the exact same thing. This is morbid curiosity, the well-documented pull toward danger, death, and disaster, even when it offers you nothing pleasant in return. The leading explanation is evolutionary. Your ancestors who paid close attention to predators, corpses, and threats gathered information that kept them alive, while the ones who looked away learned nothing about what to avoid next time.
Researchers have found that people with higher morbid curiosity often score higher on general curiosity too, suggesting it's less about darkness for its own sake and more about an information-seeking drive that doesn't get to pick what looks pleasant. What makes it different from cruelty or callousness is that it comes with discomfort attached. Most people feel a little sick even as they keep looking. Curiosity never promised to only point you toward things that feel good. It just points you toward the things you don't know yet. Earworms. A song you haven't chosen to think about in months suddenly loops in your head on repeat. Just a fragment of it, the same 8 seconds of chorus playing over and over while you're trying to fall asleep or focus on something else entirely. You didn't press play, your brain did. This is an earworm, technically called involuntary musical imagery, and it happens to almost everyone, usually triggered by hearing a snippet of it, seeing a word from its lyrics, or simply drifting in a low-stress state. The leading explanation involves the phonological loop, a part of short-term memory that naturally rehearses sounds, and music fits that loop unusually well, so a melody ends up cycling through it like it's stuck in a small room with no door out. Songs with simple, repetitive melodies and a few unexpected pitch jumps tend to be the worst offenders. Some earworms feel almost pleasant, others feel closer to mild torture, and most people can't quite decide which category theirs belongs to. What makes an earworm different from just enjoying a song is that you often don't even like the one that's stuck, and it plays regardless of whether you want it there. The strange comfort is that it usually isn't a message from your subconscious. It's just a catchy loop your memory got lazy about closing. Diderot effect. You buy one nice new thing, a lamp, a jacket, a laptop, and almost immediately everything sitting around it starts to look a little shabby by comparison, so you end up replacing the couch to match the lamp, then the rug to match the couch, spending far more than you planned, chasing a matching set you didn't know you wanted until an hour ago. This is the Diderot effect, named for the French philosopher Denis Diderot, who wrote an essay in the 1700s about receiving an elegant new robe as a gift and slowly replacing every other object in his study because none of it felt worthy of the new robe anymore. The leading explanation is that new possessions reset your sense of what counts as normal, and anything that falls below that new baseline suddenly reads as worn out or embarrassing, even if it looked perfectly fine yesterday. Marketers understand this well enough to build entire product lines around it, matching sets that quietly promise your one purchase was only the beginning. What makes this different from ordinary consumerism is that it isn't driven by need at all. It's driven by consistency. Your brain wants everything around you to agree with the story your newest object is telling. One purchase rarely stays just one purchase for very long. Phantom vibration syndrome. Your phone is sitting face down on the table, silent, and you feel it buzz against your leg anyway. So you check your pocket. There's nothing there. No notification, no missed call, just your own nervous system playing a sound that never happened. This is phantom vibration syndrome, and surveys of college students and hospital workers have found that the vast majority of people who carry a phone regularly have experienced it at least once. The leading explanation is that your brain is constantly scanning your body for patterns it expects to matter, and after months or years of real vibrations meaning something important, your skin's nerve endings start firing false positives, misreading a shifting waistband or a muscle twitch as the exact sensation you've been trained to notice. It tends to show up most in people who check their phones compulsively or are waiting on a message, which suggests anticipation plays as large a role as the hardware itself. What makes it different from simply being jumpy or anxious is that it's a genuine sensory experience, not just a thought. People report actually feeling the buzz, not just imagining it might have happened. Your body has learned to expect a certain kind of attention so completely that it now manufactures the alert on its own. Psychological reactance. Someone tells you you can't have something, or that a certain choice is off limits, and the option you barely cared about 5 minutes ago suddenly feels like the only one you want. A sign says "do not touch," and your hand drifts toward it anyway. A friend says "don't read the last page," and you're flipping there before you've decided to. This is psychological reactance, the pull toward anything the moment your freedom to choose it feels threatened. The leading explanation, first proposed by psychologist Jack Brem, is that people hold an internal sense of their own freedoms, and restricting even a small or unimportant one makes the mind respond by making that option feel more valuable, as a way of pushing back against the restriction itself. It's part of why banning something outright can accidentally make it more desirable, and why forbidden fruit has felt sweeter than available fruit for about as long as people have been writing that phrase down. What makes it different from ordinary stubbornness is that reactance can happen even when you agreed with the rule moments before it applied to you personally. It's a strange kind of loyalty your mind has, not to what you want, but to the simple fact that you're allowed to want it at all.